Hi, I'm Kent, and I'm a reference assistant here at the Beaverton City Library. And today I'm going to show you how to print a 3D dog cell phone stand. So this is an object that's relatively easy to print, but it's useful. Maybe you're going to be reading something on your cell phone or listening to music. You want a hands-free experience. This stand will support your phone, leaving your hands free. Now, in order to print this, we're going to use one of our new pieces of equipment for our Beaverton Dam design and make. And this is a Tier Time UP Mini 2 ES 3D printer. And this is a very nice, compact, self-contained unit. Because it's enclosed, it doesn't generate a lot of noise, so it's not going to disrupt people around you. Another really nice feature is it has an activated charcoal filter, which is going to capture any harmful fumes that are generated when you're melting your plastic filament. So to print our cell phone stand, we're going to be using what's called PLA filament. This is a caddy that holds the spool of filament. And we also have what's known as a guide tube that the filament feeds through. And this helps ensure that it feeds correctly, and it also lowers the friction so the filament doesn't get hung up. So what I'm going to do is I'll pull the filament off the spool here, and I'll start feeding it through the guide tube. And I'll, of course, feed it until it comes out the other end of the guide tube. And this guide tube's about 15 inches long, so it takes a little while to feed out. So now you can see the filament is starting to come out through the guide tube here. And then we'll simply put the cover on the filament caddy here. So I've inserted the PLA filament into the guide tube. I've got the caddy at the back of the printer, which is the best position in my experience for the caddy. I feed the guide tube through the back of the printer, and I've got the access covers off on the printer here. Then I'm going to feed the filament down into the print head here. And you want to make sure that it's threaded all the way into the print head there so that the feed gears can grab a hold of the filament and feed it. So I've gone ahead and done that, and I'm just going to shut the back cover here and make sure that the feed tube is fed into the caddy here, and we should be good to go. All right, so I finished loading the filament into the guide tube and into the print head of the printer here. I've got the UP Studio software loaded up on my laptop, and it's indicating that the printer is not initialized. So in order to do that, I'm going to use the touchscreen interface on the front of the printer here, and I'll simply press the initialize button. And then it says printer initialized, yes or no, and I will press the check mark. Then we get a little hourglass while it's initializing the printer. The next step after we've initialized the 3D printer is to calibrate the printer. And here's the print head. So in order to print successfully, it needs to know exactly where it is in relation to the print bed here. So the calibration procedure is going to basically use 9 points, 3 rows across the print bed here, and we're going to measure the distance from the extrusion nozzle to the print bed at each of those 9 points. And we use this little card here, it's almost like a shim, and basically insert this between the print nozzle and the print bed. And when you lower the nozzle so there's just a little bit of friction, a little bit of resistance there, that's the correct nozzle height. So I'm not going to show all the details of this procedure, but it is very important that you calibrate the printer accurately for best results. So we've initialized the printer, we've calibrated it, we've also loaded the filament. Now we're ready to actually load a 3D model into UP Studio and start printing. So here on my laptop, I'm at the thingiverse.com site. Thingiverse is a great site for 3D printer hobbyists. It has over 1.7 million models that have been contributed by members. And the cool thing about it is that as people print these things out, they leave comments. They can also come back and improve or make tweaks to a model. And now we're ready to load our 3D model from Thingiverse into the UP Studio software. To do that, I simply click on the plus symbol here. And and then I navigate in my downloads folder to the dog file here and click open. And now you can see that the dog has appeared in the design space here. So now we're actually ready to print. So to do that, I'm going to click on the print icon here. I've got several different options to choose from here, and these make a big difference in both the quality of the print, the amount of filament it uses, and also the time required to do the print. So one of the most important is the layer thickness. So if I'm printing something that doesn't have a lot of fine detail, I can use thicker layers. It's going to print faster, and I don't need a thin layer to capture fine detail. Another crucial setting is what's called infill. So that's the internal filling, basically, of the model. If I've got something that I want to be super light and just print the skin of, I would choose no infill. I can go all the way up to 100% infill if I've got something that's going to support a lot of weight or be under a lot of stress. But for this cell phone stand, I'm going to select this 20% infill setting here. And then I've got some different quality settings. Since this is a simple model and I want to produce it quickly, I'm going to use the fast quality. And then I'm going to just click the preview button here. Now what's nice about preview is this is basically going to slice the object. So it's slicing it into these horizontal slices. You can see it here. And it tells me how long the print's going to take. It tells me it's 1.2 hours in length, and it's going to use 46 grams of filament. I've already loaded my filament. I know I've got plenty of filament. I'm not going to run out. And the print's going to be completed in a reasonable amount of time. So I've gone ahead and previewed my print settings. And like I said, it's going to take 1.2 hours to print, 46 grams of filament. That all sounds great. So I will just go ahead and simply click the print button here. So exciting news, we've embarked on our 3D print here. You can see the print nozzle moving back and forth and laying down the filament on the print bed. It's creating what's called a raft right now, which helps to ensure the adhesion of the print to the print bed. So here we can see the print head extruding the filament out of the print bed. You can see the shape of the dog. So now we're looking into the front of the printer, and you can see the cell phone stand being built up here. If we look on the laptop screen, it actually tells us it's laid down 12 layers of filament, which totals about 2.1 millimeters in height. So that's some nice feedback there. And on the touch screen at the front of the printer here, tells us we've got about just over 1 hour left in the print. So we've traveled in our time machine to the future, and we've now completed 76% of our print, as you can see from the status bar here. And it's telling us that we have just over 17 minutes left in the process. Looking through the window here, you can see how the cell phone stand is really taking shape. It's basically over an inch thick right now. So things are going nicely. So now we're within 9 minutes of the end of the print here. And you can see that the print head is starting to finish off the side of the dog. Our infill, which is kind of like a honeycomb structure, is getting covered up by layers of filament. And that's just to seal off the outer surface of the cell phone stand. So we have just gotten the message we've been waiting to see. Print finished, remove the model. And looking into the printer here, you can see our cell phone stand completely finished. What we're going to do now is just allow it to cool, since temperatures during the print can reach a couple hundred degrees Celsius. All right, so we've allowed things to cool down here so I can safely touch the print bed. I'm just going to take my hands here and slide the print bed out of the printer along with the cell phone stand. So there we have it. Now it's still attached to the print bed, so what I found the best way to remove this is to use a putty knife. And what you want to do is you want to hold the knife at a shallow angle to the print bed. You also want to make totally clear, that the putty knife is not going to go into your hand. So keep your hands to the side while you're using the putty knife, and just give it a couple sharp whacks. All right, so with the use of the putty knife, I've successfully removed the cell phone stand from the print bed. And on the back of the cell phone stand here, you can see our raft. So what we're going to have to do is remove this raft. And what I've found useful for that are some like needle nose pliers, which allow you to do fine detail work and give you enough leverage to remove the flashing of this raft. So we'll come back in a few minutes once we've done that and show you the finished product. All right, folks. Just took a few minutes to remove the raft from the cell phone stand here. I think you've got to admit, this dog cleans up really well. So just to show you how it works, cell phone, dog cell phone stand. Here we have a side view showing it's held at a nice angle. I want to thank everyone for following along today to our video. You can see it's a lot of fun. It's also a good learning experience to find out how to 3D print. And as soon as we can, we look forward to opening the dam, the design and make, and we look forward to seeing you all here.